You probably know the feeling. I've been feeling it a lot lately. My art's not good enough. My skills are really lacking. Look how amazing all these other artists are. No one's gonna like what I make. There's no point in making anything when it all looks awful anyway. People who say they like my work are just being nice. There's no way everyone doesn't see how awful my skills and personality actually are. I'll never make a living from my art. I don't deserve to even get any work. And on I spiral until I end up at the bottom of a whirlpool in the ocean of defeat. So I want to share with you how I'm finding to deal with this in case it might be helpful while you're navigating your own art ship through these perilous waters. There's lots of good articles I've found explaining imposter syndrome, giving tips for overcoming it, and stuff like that. I especially liked an essay I found on the Independent Creative about the history of imposter syndrome and reframing how we see it. I'll put the link address in the description for you. Go give it a read if you get a chance. It's different from lots of other articles and helped me in how I think about these feelings. I don't have the professional experience or training to advise on mental health topics, so instead I just want to visit with you about it over a mug of whatever drink gives you comfort. So go fill your mug and have a sip with me. I don't know why our brains like to work against us so much. It seems counterproductive, right? I'm sure there's lots of technical reasons, but I can't juggle that many sextants when I'm trying to navigate, and I lose my way whenever I try to think about it logically. Maybe it's because in the creative fields, we pour some of our essence into the pieces we create. Showing our work can be like putting our very souls on display for people who don't even know us to shred with their words. It can be disheartening, right? Especially if we feel like those words are true. And if trying to make a living from our art is our goal, well, these feelings of inadequacy can have the strength of 50 krakens. Even one would be hard to deal with, especially if we're each sailing the ocean's dark waters alone. And this is what I think might make the difference. It's hardest when we do it alone. Now I'm very, very far to the introverted side of the extrovert-introvert spectrum. I'm like almost falling off the edge, so I very much like being alone. But creativity, while it needs some aloneness to grow, it also needs the light of other souls. Like kelp needs the waters, but also the sunlight. We can get so lost in our own heads, our own little internal oceans, that we don't realize we're right alongside so many other souls all lost in their own heads too. But we're really on the same ocean, and we could fight the krakens together. Among my peers as a kid, I was quiet, distant, artistic, shy, sensitive, invisible, but bullied. Little me thought things would be better as an adult, but that sensitivity is a trait that's here to stay, and past hurts and my current fears often still have me hold potential friends at a distance. Being chronically ill doesn't help. But what I'm noticing is, the more I will myself to talk with other artists, the more I find that most of us can relate to each other in these and so many other ways. In case you're not familiar with Kelsey Rodriguez and her wonderful art and business videos, I put a link to her channel in the description. Her videos are so warm, and they've been amazingly helpful to me. In one of them, she asked her viewers what one thing we could do this year to make next year better for us in a huge way. That really stuck in my mind. I didn't know what my one thing could be, though. But recently, I got invited to join a critique group of author illustrators. In the past, I'd tried to start my own critique group and tried several times to join other people's, but nothing really came of those. I never would have guessed a group of other writers and illustrators would think I was worth enough to ask me to be part of theirs. See that? I was worth, not my art was worth. They're not the same thing. Anyway, I'm so happy to have been asked to join. They're all fantastic artists who I look up to, and I'm still amazed that they're willing to work with me and improve our skills together. And it made me think back to Kelsey's question. And I realized that this opportunity grew out of doing weekly work sessions with a couple other illustrators. And the work sessions came from talking with them at an SCBWI meeting that I worked up the nerve to attend. And the confidence to talk with them in person at that meeting came from already having met them during a monthly online picture book writing class that I took last year. And my willingness to actually join their critique group when I've never been in one before, that came from interacting and critiquing work in a very low pressure environment with my now friends on Discord. And that Discord community grew out of us being classmates in a 10-week SVS illustration course that I also took last year. So my decision to take both the picture book class and the illustration course and to work hard on them, even when I didn't feel well or was busy, within reason, of course, and to participate and to try to get to know my classmates, that's all snowballed in ways I never would have imagined a year ago. And that circles back to the ocean of defeat, because I've learned we all get stuck in those whirlpools, and if we open up and talk to each other about it, it's a lot easier to find a way out. It's easier to fight the krakens as a team. We don't have to do it alone. Year ago me was so lonely trying to make all this work by myself because I couldn't find anyone to sail with. If you're in that spot now, first off, I'm sorry because it feels awful. And second, what I'm finding helpful for that is trying to build my skills in ways that connect me to other people. Trying to build that community has been a long process, and I've really only just started, but I'm finding that sharing the journey with other creatives who understand does help me counter that feeling of never being good enough, because we all feel that way sometimes. Even though seeing the work of other artists more advanced than me does sometimes bring me down, I try to remember that we've all been beginners. We all have to put the time and effort in. We all know what it feels like. And I've found other artists to be so warm and encouraging and so willing to freely share what knowledge they have with others. I've only had to work the nerve up to ask. So I keep working on building my skills. I reach out to artists I admire. I take classes and I interact. I try to freely share my own knowledge when I feel like I have some to share. And I keep going. Sometimes I have to stop and wallow a bit, or a lot, or take it slower than I was, especially if it's a day I'm not feeling very well. But overall, the progress is forward. And that helps with not feeling good enough. Or at least it's letting me meet fellow travelers who can encourage me when I do feel low, and who I can hopefully encourage when they do. Your art is something only you, with your specific combo of experiences, passions, styles, and outlooks can create, and it is worthy of existing. The world can be awful, like being lost in a rowboat in a sea full of krakens. It needs all the art it can get. And you never know, one of your art pieces could turn out to be someone's life preserver. Well, thanks for sitting with me. Please share with us in the comments anything you found that helps you deal with imposter syndrome. Maybe it'll be helpful for someone else too. Thanks for joining me.